Guys, welcome back to another lesson. Today we are going to be talking about the volume of prisms and cylinders. So let's get right into it. When you talk about volume, you are talking about cubic units. So picture a cube that you played with as a child, right? Every side is a square and they're all the same square. When we talk about volume, we're talking about how many of those cubes would fit into the space of your object, okay? So, and note that with these different objects that we have, like the cube is it's malleable, right? So you wouldn't be able to fit cubes into a cylinder exactly, but you can have portions of cubes. You can kind of like take little pieces of the cube and put it in different areas. So visualize that. So let's start with finding the volume of a right rectangular prism. So that's what we've got here in our first example. If I use the bottom rectangle as my base, so this right here, if I use this as my base, then my base is a rectangle that is 20 by 5. So if that's my base, then the height of the prism is the distance between those two bases, because with a prism, I've got two bases, right? So my height would be this side length between them, which is 15. So to find the area of my base, I'm just going to multiply the 20 times 5. So area of my base is equal to 100. And then my height is equal to this 15, which is the distance between those two bases. So in order to find the total volume of my right rectangular prism, I'm just going to multiply those two things. So 100, which is the area of the base, times 15, which is the height of the prism, gives me 1,500 cubic units. Whenever you talk about volume, you're talking about cubic units because we're talking about how many of those little cubes fit in there. So when you have a right rectangular prism, you can also find the volume just by doing length times width times height, because to find the area of the base, you're just doing length times width, and then you're taking that and multiplying it by the height. The reason that I simplified this and just kind of found the area of the base and the height separately is because then when we talk about prisms in general, that is how you find the volume. You take the area of the base and you multiply it by the height. So in example 2, my base now is this triangle. I know that's my base because whenever I'm talking about prisms, I am looking for the side, there should be two of them, the two sides, that are not rectangles. So when you don't have a rectangular prism, your bases are going to be some other polygon. So I need to find the area of that base, which is a triangle. It is an isosceles triangle that's got these two side lengths of 10 and the base of 12. So I need to find the height of that. So I'm going to break it in half, which would give me this right triangle that has a hypotenuse of 10 and a base of 6. And I'm going to call this length there X, which is what I'm looking for. Could do Pythagorean theorem. Also, I know that this is a Pythagorean triple, right? So I could say x squared plus 6 squared equals 10 squared, solve that. But also it's a Pythagorean triple. So x is equal to 8. So then to find the area of my base, I am going to take 1/2 times the base of that triangle, which is 12, times the height of that triangle, which is 8, and then I am going to use that to find the area of that triangle. So I have that the area of that triangle is 48 square units. Okay, something I want you to note is that I talk about the height of that triangle. So that height of the base right here, the height of the triangle, that's what that 8 is that we just found. And the reason I called it X is because I'm allowing this H to be the height of the prism. So this H is it's the height of the prism, and it's the distance between those two bases. So h is equal to 15, because that is the distance between those two bases, or the height actually of the prism. Like if I laid it on one of the bases, how tall is it? It's 15 units. So now I've already got the area of my base. I've already got the height of the prism. So now I'm just going to plug those into my formula and solve. Volume is equal to area of my base, 48, times the height of my 3D figure, which is 15. 48 times 15 is 720 cubic units. Okay. In example number 3, I am going to look at this figure. So this is actually kind of it's got a composite base. So if you look at this, it's kind of like that upside down T shape. That is my base right over here. And then I would have one on that other side as well. So if I look at this upside down T shape, I need to find the area of that in order to find the area of my base. So what I'm going to do is I am going to split it into 2 different rectangles. So if I split it, I'm going to take this, and I've got that rectangle up here. That is what I'm showing over here. And my dimensions of that are 2 by 5. Okay, so the area of that, 2 times 5, is equal to 10 square units. So that's what we've got in green. And then I've got another rectangle that's down here, right? That yellow portion that I just highlighted. That's this situation right here. And the dimensions of that are 7 by the height of 4 that's given there. So 7 times 4 is equal to 28. Those are the 2 portions of my base. So the area of my base is equal to 10 plus 28, which is 38 square units. Okay, and then I need to find the height of my 3D figure, which is this 10. It is the distance between those 2 bases. So my height is equal to 10. So to find my total volume, I am just going to take volume is equal to area of my base, which is 38, times the height of my 3D object, which is 10, which gives me 300, what happened here? 380 cubic units. All right, sweet. So far, so good. Yes. All right, next, volume of the cylinder. Same thing. You are still looking for the area of the base times the height. That's why we grouped these 3, or why we grouped cylinders and prisms together, because you're doing the same thing. Area of the base times the height. With a cylinder, you can also use the formula volume is equal to pi r squared times h, because what shape is your base? Oh, it's a circle. What's the area of a circle? Pi r squared. So volume of a cylinder, pi r squared times your height. So here's my base. It's this circle. Got 2 of them. The radius of my base is equal to 3. So the area of the base is equal to pi r squared, so 9 pi. Just going to leave it like that for now. The height of my 3D object is this distance here, this 12 in between them, so height is equal to 12. So then to find the volume, I am going to say volume is equal to area of base, 9 pi, times the height of my 3D object, which is 12, which gives me 9 times 12 is 108 pi. Okay, so that is my exact answer, or I can actually multiply 108 times pi and get 339.3 cubic units. All right, that is all for today, short and quick. So if you have any questions, as always, feel free to email your teacher, and we will talk to you soon. Bye, folks.